Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, I think we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Suzerain. Let's just jump right in. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so glad this series has been going well. I'm just excited to be here. So last time, actually, let's do a quick review of what we did last time. So last time, we're just about to finish turn 3. So we just had the budget meeting. We decided to significantly increase the budgets of the law enforcement administration, the education, and the healthcare administration, and we cut the military budget. We increased the Energy Protection Act to 49%. We have officially started drafting the constitutional proposal. Let's hope that goes well. We banned the young swords, and we convinced Gassom to contribute to the welfare of their working force, as well as investing a significant amount into them. So, I'm very hopeful that this series is going to go in a good direction. Reform Committee status report. Lucian Glad has reported so far that they've been able to get in total 87 signatures behind the proposal. Efforts are underway to increase the support and reach out to necessary members. Excellent. Oh. Cuts to the military will help the economy. Thank you. Thank you, Marcel Caranti. So, I want to... open this video with a very interesting thing that I've realized. So, the game, Suzerain doesn't give you very many graphs. The most that you can, learn is by opening city information and learning about the different populations and ethnicities and which religion people follow within the various provinces, as well as the status of each province. However, you don't get a graph showing you the support each section of the population have for you, or let me rephrase that. All these news outlets, they represent different factions of the population. And this is how you figure out who's supporting you and who isn't. The Holzord post is the right wing, the Radical is the left, Black Haven Times, I'm still not entirely sure yet, but I think they're more like social democratic liberal. The Economists are the business class, and Sordland Today is basically the average person, and this is directly impacted by your if you make a deal with Marcel Caranti. So this is how we figure out who's on our side and who's not. Simple example. The economists don't really support me, generally speaking, because they're the business rag, and I've been fairly aggressive in targeting the most wealthy within Sordland. The Radical is, generally speaking, very supportive of me because of what I've been doing. The Holzord Post typically doesn't really like me, but on certain issues, they tend to agree with me. Like, for example, in the when I increased the funding to Gassom, they were very supportive of that. And they were very against effective immediately. Yeah, because they're mentioning Kisara Kibner opposing the ban. Oh, they've been... Either way, if you want to figure out who's on your side and who's not, it's best to look at the newspapers and see, generally speaking, which blocks of the population have your support and which ones are against you. So that is something I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to as I continue to play this game. And it's a fascinating section of the game that I just hadn't realized before. And I'm honestly, again, just another testament to the fantastic writing this game has. So, without further ado, let us continue. Chapter 2, A New Sordland. Alright. Let's jump right into it. Let's see what everyone's saying. An unusual encounter, former President Sol's open hospitality. Interesting. FC Gelzord claims the league title again. This is football. United Contana's Congress. Arcasia missile testing. Interesting. Offers support amid region tensions. Okay. Okay, let's see what we've got here then. Benfey Regional Airport overcrowded. Okay. Massive network of BFF priests discovered. Okay. A dozen arrests were made. Since most police officers don't speak Bullish, it'll be difficult to find the actual ringleader. Ah. Golconda doesn't be banned? Oh god, no. What the fuck is wrong with you? Central Bank releases a strong budget deficit warning. Okay, let's read this. Central Bank of Sordland issued a damning warning regarding the extensive budget deficit that has occurred in the first year of the administration. Yeah, we spent a lot to fund the, increase funding for the administrative sections like the healthcare and education. Potential consequences of irresponsible economic management were highlighted. The ANGNOC relayed that a large deficit could have dire consequences on the strength of currency and could hamper potential of the still-to-recover economy. We'll see. Military equipment outdated. Education in rural regions require improvements. We're getting on that. We'll absolutely make sure that happens. Offshore drilling. Unidentified object. Okay. What do we have here? Workers' Rights Act. Finally. Okay, good. We've been waiting for this for a while now. Section 1 of this bill sets the groundwork for fair compensation by establishing a minimum wage of 2.5 Sordland per hour. This serves as a benchmark for fair and equitable pay, ensuring that no worker in Sordland is compensated below this rate. Section 2 addresses the issue of excessive labor, setting a maximum limit of 60 hours of work per week. This provision aims to prevent worker exploitation and safeguard the well-being of the Sordland labor force. Section 3 introduces the concept of double overtime pay, stipulates that any work performed beyond a 40-hour work week will be compensated at twice the normal hourly wage. This incentivizes fair work practices and ensures employees are duly compensated for their extended efforts. 4 focuses on worker safety and humane work conditions. It mandates that employers must take all necessary steps to protect their workers from occupational hazards, ensure a dignified and safe working environment. This promotes a culture of respect and care within workplaces across Sordland. Section 5 extends these protections to migrant or undocumented workers, granting them the same rights as Sordland citizens. Employers who fail to abide by these rules face substantial fines from the government, and persistent non-compliance will invite legal action. One government budget. Yeah, we've been talking about this with David, we've been talking about this with Pascal, we've been talking about this very consistently across the board. This is an excellent first step into improving labor rights, so we're going to sign it. It'll cost us one government budget, which is very, very unfortunate, but it's absolutely necessary in my opinion. Good. Increased employee costs. Unfortunate, but that's the price you pay. That's what we need. Improved worker conditions. Great. And workers' rights reform. Good. Okay, let's take a look at the 3 newspapers, see what they're saying. The Workers' Rights Act has been signed into law by President Rain after the approval of Grand National Assembly by majority vote on Monday. Mansoon Lek, who campaigned heavily for the bill, also sought to express his gratitude for the confirmation of the new law, saying it contained much vital rules and regulations for the workers and the backbone of our nation. New law establishes Interesting. They're actually covering this fairly neutrally. Rain signs Workers' Rights Bill into law. Recently implemented Workers' Rights Bill caused the initial protests against the government to mellow down after the mobile mine disaster. Chants of anger have turned into solidarity marches. Great. While the spokesperson for the Dam Mining Group has accused President Rain of acting impulsively with the bill. You piece of shit. Saying it puts too much weight on the businesses. That's your job. Treat your workers well, fucker. After the public announcement, Nadam has received hundreds of lawsuits from people around the country. That's the only reason this is unfortunate, because, like, fuck him, frankly. The only reason this is unfortunate is because we own Nadam Mining Corporation, so, because it's a nationalized institution. Workers' Rights Bill signed in a surprising room. President Ray has decided to do something right for his citizens by signing the Workers' Rights Act into law. On the other hand, this may simply be a diversion for the actual... You guys suck. Well, this is still valuable information. This is very good to know. All right. We continue on. We'll do the walk with Monica last. Regional investment. A proposed regional investment to strengthen the local economies. Okay. Here we go. Oh, it's so expensive. Fuck me. Alright, here we go. Gus Manger and Simon Hall have prepared an extensive regional investment package to revitalize one of the top 3 economically fragile regions by boosting the municipality budgets, providing large sums of business grants, and giving cheap loans to companies with liquidity problems. The proposal can be implemented in one of the following regions: Bergia, Lorne, and Agland, or not at all. Okay. let's take a closer look at this. I want to look at all three of these regions. I think I want to invest in Lauren for a reason I'll explain very shortly, but let's take a look at all these regions. So, capital city Dire is nestled in a river. I want to see what each of these what each of these regions produce exactly, so I can see what we need the most of and what we can do in response. Fertile rivers. I don't need to know about the name right now. Region struggles with high unemployment rates. Agriculture, mining, and steel manufacturing form the bedrock of Berja's economy. Mining, steel, agriculture. Okay. Let's take a look at Lauren. Region's economy has faced new difficulties following the recession. Resilience through its coal mining and factories. Okay. Along with the hosting large forest industry in Sordland. Dominated by a damn mining group, which, keep in mind, is our company. So we own this as the government. So mining. Okay, keep that in mind. And Agland, what do they produce? Heavily reliant on trade, has often struggled with stagnation, coupled with high unemployment rates. Interesting. Okay, so I'm less worried about Agland, even though they do deserve the investments and could do very, very well with them. I'm not going to invest in Agland because we're going to do the deal with Agnolia, and hopefully that will help revitalize the region. Berja and Lauren. Now, I have two minds of this. On the one hand, Berja is the more impoverished region, and they definitely need the resources. They also produce a lot of agriculture, which is very important. It will also reduce unemployment rates, which will reduce people from joining the British Freedom Front. So for that reason, it could be a very, very good decision to invest in Berja. And it'll reduce the unemployment rate, it'll reduce the crime rate, it'll reduce, it'll increase Berja's capacity just on its own, and that'll have significant impact in the future, and on the agricultural industry. Lauren, however, Lauren is owned by Nadam Mining Group, which we have just, who has just been affected by the worker increase. So and again, they are owned by the government. They're owned by us. So whatever profit they make, it goes straight back to us, essentially. And we have been focusing a great deal on both electronics manufacturing and energy production. We've invested into Gasum, and we've increased the EPA. So for that reason, I think I want to double down on the energy industry. I think this will have the best impact on our growth as an economy moving forward, and I think if we put this funding into Lauren, we'll increase the amount of mining we can do. We can increase the trade of our energy resources and, well, coal specifically, and that'll put us in a much better space. That'll put us in a much better spot economically. And for Berja, we'll make sure that rural expansion, rural education, rural healthcare expansion, it goes underway within that region. So for that reason, for the energy, for the increase in the energy produced in Lauren, I think we're going to put the investment there. Yeah. All right, Lauren it is. Investment in Lauren. Sordland's commitment to regional development has led to the launch of a substantial investment plan, providing significant funds to companies and municipalities in the Lauren region. This investment initiative seeks to boost economic growth, foster innovation, support local business, thus creating a conducive environment for sustainable development and prosperity in the Lauren region. Let's hope that works out. I'm really hoping the Dam Mining Group will be able to take full advantage of those investments, and they'll be able to produce more energy for us, which we can then export. That money will, of course, be used to strengthen the economy down the line. Government investment in Lauren. Storage has injected billions of SR into the development of the region of Lauren. Priority areas for luring heavy industry investments. Yeah, that was kind of the goal. That was a part of the goal. The city of Morgna and Morbel will likely benefit from the most due to the proximity to national resources, existing transmission links, and population centers. Government programs designed to attract investors and kickstart the massive industry in the region that has shrunk over the decade. Funding will also be used to develop regional infrastructure, and a small portion will be used as subsidies for the forestry industry. Yeah, that was exactly my logic. We're investing in the natural resource production. Again, I really want to make sure we can invest more in Berja, but in our current state, not now. Okay. Budget allocation for law enforcement. Let's talk to Nia about that anti-corruption group. I assume this is going to be that conversation. I was in my office reading reports from the ministries about the current situation of the protests. My next scheduled meeting was about the law enforcement budget with Nia and Lilius. I heard some knocks on the door. Nia entered and took a seat in front of my desk. Lilius was absent. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Lilius will be late. Apparently there was an urgent matter at the Ministry of the Interior she had to attend to. Shouldn't take long. Very well, let's leave. I turned to my reports and Nia smoothed back an errant strand of hair. There was an awkward silence. While we wait, why don't we have a little chat? This might come off as a little strange, but I am proud of you. Despite everything, you are actually trying to reform the country. It's we, Nia, not me. I couldn't do any of this by myself, so no, I am proud of you. Well, thank you. You certainly have a way with words, don't you? Words are just words. Actions are what's important. And you seem to be doing well at both so far. Pros are canceling out the cons for sure. She leaned forward. How are you really holding up, Anton? Being the president, I mean. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it's also the best thing I've ever done in my life. I can imagine. So much responsibility and so much power at the same time. I want to assist you and the country as best I can, and to do that I have an idea. We need to eliminate the worst problem we have. Corruption. And how do we do that? It's high time the old guards and Supreme Court stop holding the country in the palm of their hands. That's why I want to form a new unit, the Anti-Corruption Police. That is my idea. Sounds like an excellent idea. I'm glad you agree. I'm still figuring out the details myself right now, but think of the possibilities. Also, one more thing. About Lilius. I wouldn't trust her if I... She barely finished her sentence before we heard a knock at the door. Nia almost jumped in her chair. Lilius Graft entered the room. Mr. President, Nia. I hope that I'm not interrupting your conversation. No, not at all. We were just discussing a few things. Nia smiled at Lilius. I'm sorry for being late. There was an important matter at the ministry. The security forces of Bergia are arbitrarily not cooperating with my department and created some minor annoyances. Unfortunately, due to my limited authority in the special zone of Bergia, I cannot control their operations. Luckily, they didn't completely botch their task and actually uncovered a large network of priests that are recruiting Bergians for the British Freedom Front. That sounds very significant. Do you want to explain more? The issue was a miscommunication about an ongoing investigation inside Bergia, but as I said, it didn't affect the results in a negative way. The investigation itself, however, revealed some troubling facts. We suspect the existence of a massive network of the BFF-aligned priests serving in Bergia. We have discovered that most of the existing Golconda sanctuaries and communities inside Bergia are indeed working directly for the BFF. Several reports also point to a possible infiltration of the Dasnuris and Vurish communities by these Golconda sects. May the Divine God forgive us if this is true. Tell me about the Golcondists. If you want my honest opinion, they're a group of dangerous radicals who follow a warped interpretation of Vrurist nudity. Most faithful Nurists wouldn't want to have anything to do with them. I don't appreciate you speaking like that, Lilius. The majority of the bullish community in Sordland practice Golcondism. Don't normalize it, Miss Morgna. They're a plague on this earth. Even Orthodox Vrurists do not like them. As a devoutest Nurist myself, I haven't experienced any divide in Sordland between our religion and the mainstream Vrurist. Bless Saint Dast, all practitioners of nudity live in peace here. You're rich, of course you haven't experienced that. What the fuck are you on about? Except the Golcondists, of course. Their extremist beliefs are an abomination, and unfortunately after the Vrurist revolution in Dergia, we also have a Golcondist state that uses the influence of their fate internationally. As a matter of fact, the Nurse Republic of Dergia is one of the BFF's suspected supporters. Their aims are clearly one and the same. Do you suspect any other countries are supporting the BFF together with Rumburg? I suspect the Kingdom of Regia is involved in this along with Dergia. However, the biggest player is Rumburg, and we have clear evidence of their interference. Our focus must be on them. I don't think we should damage our international relations under unproven suspicions. Our direct neighbors have much more influence over us. Besides, this isn't the topic of the meeting. I think it's best to discuss this in an external security meeting, when or if enough proof is collected. Alright. Lilius took the seat next to Nia and continued talking. Well then, let's go straight in. We'll provide a brief update on the situation of law enforcement. Go ahead. Nia? The Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court is working in close collaboration with the Ministry of Interior to address the protests in the country. I must add that thanks to the hard work of our judiciary, the law enforcement forces assigned to my ministry are doing their jobs efficiently. I would call it the success of our forces on the ground, not due to the judicial branch of our government. Lilith shot Nia a withering glance. As expected, the budget increase has boosted morale of the employees in the law enforcement agencies. In these dire times, my people and Nia's people are especially delighted. This came as a pleasant surprise to many in the Ministry of the Interior, since it was not even one of our campaign promises. And for that, all I will say is bravo! This was an excellent decision. Agreed. The Ministry of Justice, we are very happy with the decision as well. The backlog of the court cases are dwindling, and we have started to fulfill the needs of the current situation. Certainly a step in the right direction. Thank you. I'm glad that you approve. Nia nodded. Of course. Well then, let's move on to what we were actually here for. Due to the budget increase, we can start doing much more as main branches of security in Sordland. However, a decision has to be made about the budget balance between the Ministry of the Interior and the Ministry of Justice. Exactly. When deciding, you must look at the bigger picture. I believe you will make the right choice and pick the Ministry of the Interior. Why should I pick the Ministry of the Interior? The Ministry of Interior is a much more significant and important government agency that is in need of the funds, especially during these times where there are many protests in the country. Good luck prosecuting criminals or going through local government laws without enough judges, Lilius. What if I decide to balance the budget in between Ministry of Interior and Justice? Balancing the budget won't help us much. The current situation clearly demands that a decisive choice be made to benefit the nation. I agree. We need to focus on one ministry to achieve tangible results. That's fair, I agree with that too. Of course, what would make the most sense in the current situation would just be to support the much-neglected Ministry of Justice. That would improve the legal system in Sordland. Tell me, Nia, who brings criminals before the justices? Let me answer. The police force is connected to the Ministry of Interior. Why should I pick the Ministry of Justice? Each day, the stacks of legal cases are piling up for judges. Cases for corruption and criminals are delayed due to a lack of funds. This seems to be an organizational issue, not a funding one. Okay. I mean, theoretically, yes, but if you don't have enough funding, it's harder to organize things. And if it's not an organization issue, you need to have more funds to hire more people. The Interior needs the money for more for the police and local governments. I'm ready to make a decision. What will it be? The funds will go to the Ministry of Justice to reduce the court backlog and improve the justice system. Bad decision making. The right choice. It was time that Ministry of Justice got the funds it needed. A brief moment of deliberation passed. Lilius got up from her seat. I must return to the ministry to implement necessary changes. Very well. See you soon, Lilius. I need to have a few words with Mr. President. Lilius left the room. Here's my proposal. Corruption has always been a major issue with any government. It is the root of all evil. That's why I'm proposing the formation of the Anti-Corruption Police. As a sub-branch of the Ministry of Justice, the ACP would be given full authority by the presidency to investigate corrupt government officials and citizens. This would come especially in handy when dealing with corruption in higher positions. The Supreme Court and oligarchs that meddle in politics are just a few examples. If you accept, this will give our administration the ability to deal with corruption quickly and decisively. Very well, form the Anti-Corruption Police. Excellent. I will start the prep work. You are making good decisions after good decisions today, Mr. President. I will be in touch. Nia got up and left the room. That was productive. I'm very happy with that. Anti-corruption law. In a proactive effort to combat government corruption, the Ministry of Justice introduced an anti-corruption law supported by the establishment of the Anti-Corruption Police. Comprehensive legal initiatives aim to address corruption at all levels, ensuring transparency, accountability, integrity in public office. By actively investigating and prosecuting corrupt practices, this measure seeks to restore the public trust. Okay, good. Very good. Anti-corruption campaign, efficient justice system, positive judicial personnel. Excellent. Okay. Wonderful. I'm gonna take a drink and then get back into this. Protesters target. Recession is growing faster. Yeah, I admit, I think I don't think I've spent too much, because I agree fully with everything I've spent it on, but it is concerning. Richter calls president to action. Head of Sordland's main opposition party, People's Freedom Justice Party, Franz Richter has said the President Reign needs to adjust to the issues like term limits, electoral threshold, and Sordland's democracy. If Sordland's democracy, freedoms, and economy want to be developed. Educational reforms expressed his support. Okay, we're doing that stuff anyway, so that's okay with me. British Freedom Front using schools to recruit and train militants. Very interesting. We're going to be investing in the school system overall, so that'll be a good thing. That's something we can deal with, I think, in the very near future. It was early evening, still light out when just a faint nip in the air. Frank was at a friend's and Deanna was at an art class. Monica and I decided to go out for a walk before dinner. Our favorite place for a stroll was nearby Capitol Park, the largest green space in all of Horsord. Before the children were born, we'd spent many an evening engaged in deep conversation along the riverside promenade. Another favorite path round through the woods behind the presidential housing complex to a private pond where the children could swim in the summer. I was told that Sol himself had it built. The benefits of being president. Monica met me by the door, and we put on our coats and hats. I was going to suggest we walk towards Sol Square, but the guards told me it's been closed for yet another protest. I wonder who they're protesting this time. The young swords are taking it too far. Old grudges die hard, I see. This is different. A nastier breed. In any case, where should we go? I'm not sure Capitol Park is a wise idea in this climate either. Nonsense. We have our guards. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let's go to Capitol Park. Alright, let's go then before the children get home. I informed the guards about our route, and we left the house. The guards followed us with a black Kadea as we exited the gates. Walking briskly, we reached Capitol Park in minutes. As we entered the park, Monica broke the silence. So how was your day? Paperwork, endless meetings, the usual nightmare. I don't know. I imagine some might find that stimulating. What about your day? Oh, it was fine. I caught up on some reading while the children were at school. As we reached the river, we saw Ionas Krona, the former Minister of Justice, walking in the opposite direction. I remember that Nia Morgna used to be his vice minister. He gave us a quick nod of acknowledgement. Ionas had once fought hard and strong against Sol's judiciary reforms, but after years of the government blocking his every move, he gave up on his ideals and became a part of the administration. What did our ideals really mean if they could be changed so easily? What about the people we idolize? Evelyn also came around for tea. She says hi. She was feeling rather low, though. Apparently she and Peter had a bit of a disagreement. Peter's in the doghouse again? How'd it happen? Apparently Peter had too much whiskey, as usual, and didn't behave when Evelyn's father was over for dinner yesterday. You know Peter. What do you think of this? That's Peter. Perpetually pickled. I'll have a talk with him. Good. Evelyn seemed close to tears. Aren't you glad you and I don't have these kind of quarrels? Monica didn't say anything. We kept walking. I wouldn't have said that, but the other option's worse. You know, Evelyn hasn't been the same since what happened to her at Holsard Post last year. She was part of Holsard Post. Interesting. Oh, current public reports from the Ministry of Economy are pointing to a deep underlying problem source. Debt, yeah. Comments from the administration state the situation is only temporary. That remains to be seen. Our economic advisor commented on the matter, saying the current stance of the administration is hiding the extent of the debt. This, of course, brings up the question, is Sordland turning into a debt nation? We'll be okay. I hope. Sorry about that. Holsard Post last year. You remember how she got fired for supporting Alfonso? Ah, that checks. Peter tried everything to get her job back, but it didn't work. A sad day for journalism and free speech in Sordland. I completely agree. A sad day indeed. But enough about the veterans. I also spoke to Janice on the phone. Who? You remember, my friend from university. We were in Source literature class together. A few years younger than me, red hair, scar on her forehead. We had dinner with her and her husband once or twice. Neither the name nor the description rang a bell. I still don't remember her, but go on. Anyway, she's been working as an executive assistant at the Violet Pictures film studio. She recently became pregnant and asked her boss for paid maternity leave. And guess what? She was fired for it. After asking for maternity leave? That's terrible. I know, I was beside myself when she told me, and that's not all. They immediately replaced her with a younger, less experienced man, son of an executive, no less. This is utterly ridiculous. I'm happy you agree with me. As it happens, another friend works for a television station that's hiring secretaries, so I connected the two of them. That doesn't solve the deeper problem, though. Exactly, I knew you'd be on the same page. Women in this country are still seen as wives and mothers first and human beings second. They're harassed at work, underpaid, blocked from positions of power, and those are the lucky ones. The fact that there are places in this country where little girls like Diana are denied the right to an education. Yes, and I will do what I can to change that. It can't just be you. These little girls and people like Janice need someone to speak on their behalf, a role model, a successful woman. We were right in front of one of the park benches that lined the river. Monica gestured to it, and we sat down. Which brings me to my point. I know that the mayor of Anrica, Curtin Lest, will be delivering a speech at the annual opening of the Benfey Festival. He's a conservative, by the way. United Sordland Party, Anrica. He also founded the National Neurists Association to fight against the decreasing religious and moral values among the youth. Yeah, so conservative. Eesh. That's not great. I wonder how much sway he has. Like, really. We'll be delivering a speech at the annual opening of the Benfey Festival. Okay, then a lot of sway. Good to know. My wish is to take his place and deliver the speech instead. Lester was one of Sordland's most influential politicians. He had started his career in Benfey before rising to power in Anrica. Benfey's current mayor had personally invited him to make the ongoing speech. Replacing him with Monica would likely anger him. Probably not enough to cause a huge incident, but enough that he might use his influence over the Conservatives to block me in the assembly. I want to base the speech on women's rights in Sordland, on the oppression and discrimination we face every day on the basis of our sex alone. I want her voices heard, and this festival is the time to do it. I just need your blessing as my husband and the president of Sordland. Remember my time with the Swords League of Women in university. You supported me then, I'm asking you to support me now. Monica's eyes were blazing with a fire I hadn't seen since we were students. She wanted this badly, but I had to be careful with my promises. Unfortunately, I can't. I simply can't, because we need to get this constitutional reform through, and to do that, we need the support of the Conservatives. If Curtin Lest seems more than willing to fuck around with the vote behind closed doors, then that's something I can't deal with. That's something that'll definitely hurt me in the future. And if we don't get this passed, a significant portion of our efforts are down the drain. I simply can't risk that. As much as I completely support Monica here and I want to give her this chance, I simply can't. It's too heavy of a risk. Does it have to be at the festival? Can't you make your speech another time? It has to be now. Thousands go to this festival and millions watch their speeches at home. Sordland's women can't wait any longer. I can't. I have to get this reform through. And I can't have the Conservatives blocking everything I try to push. Absolutely not. Out of the question. I don't understand. Isn't this something you care about as well? I'm sorry, but I can't make Curtin Lest angry. What little trouble this causes in the short term is nothing compared to the lasting positive change it will bring, not just for women, but for all of Sordland. I don't think she's correct here. The long-term positive change will come out of fixing this broken constitution, not a single speech. I don't think so. Monica was silent for a while. When she finally spoke, there was a chill in her voice. If that's truly how you feel, so be it. We walked back home, neither of us looking at the other. I feel really bad, but I can't I can't make Curtin less angry. We have to get that reform through. There are currently peaceful protests taking place throughout the country in response to recent events. However, the situation is not effectively managed. There's a risk these peaceful demonstrations might develop into violence and unruly generals. That's really bad. That's really bad. I had to cut the military budget, though. We didn't have the money. A game changer? News of international interest in Gasholm continues to spread. Reports have confirmed that Anrika and Kinau, alongside Gamland, are also considering significant investments. Excellent. Potential turnaround. Okay. Oh, a bomb attack. Yeah, that's really bad. Arcasia has called on both sides to avoid violence, but stressed that Sordland has the right to defend itself against attacks by bullish rebels. Okay, noted. Chancellor denounces, small condemns. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Go contest violence and dare. So recommend that measures be taken to prevent future incidents and address the root of violence. That is true, and that answer is by increasing the education and the healthcare access in the area. Also by increasing the amount of jobs we get, but we have to deal with that another time. Gasholm resumes hiring. Like Avon's local energy point resumed its hiring operation after several months of pause. Hundreds of new employees, signaling a potential recovery phase. Excellent. That's fantastic. BFF bombs police station. General staff condemns the administration. Yeah, it's... Sorry I cut your budget. My bad. Young Swords members arrested and face terrorism charge. Great. Perfect. Excellent. Good to see. Okay. What next? Briefing on the L1 railway construction issues. Shit. Discussions of changes to the tax system. Fuck. Okay. Briefing on the L1 railway construction issues. Let's deal with this first. The L1 railway construction created the perfect opportunity to visit the green technological nerve center of Sordland. Dozens of electrical engineers from the city were part of the electrification upgrade of the rail track. The main purpose of our visit was to solve construction issues that began to endanger the deadline. The Gelsord Research Council were very willing to let us use their facilities because the rectors were pleased by the increase of the education funding. Lovely. Simon looked a little more stressed than usual. Gus was also here to find solutions. He eyed me for a while. Taurus Holding has reached out to us and requested more funds. Oh, Tyson, by the way. Mike Tyson, by the way. I hope. I forget. Is it Jake or Logan Paul who's doing the fight? I don't really care. I can't stand the Pauls. But hey, a fair fight's a fair fight. Taurus Holding has reached out to us and requested more funds. As per the report they have sent, to finish the railway on time. It's Jake. Okay, yeah. As per the report they have sent, to finish the railway on time, they realized more capital is necessary due to the new labor laws. We scheduled the construction to finish sooner, but Taurus Holding might miss that target with the current trajectory. It is unfortunate, but construction can be disrupted when costs change dramatically. I knew that something was wrong when they offered the contract for cheaper. Underhaul wouldn't have had this problem due to their wealth. Shut up about Underhaul, Jesus Christ. If this causes a delay, it would also cause us to lose face in front of the eyes of the public. Sinking more money into Taurus isn't ideal either. Why do they need the extra money? They need it for unforeseen expenses that came from the new workers' rights bill. A couple of shipment companies had... Thanks, Caleb. I will have a good stream. Thank you for coming. Always appreciate it. They need for unforeseen expenses that came from the new workers' rights bill. A couple of shipment companies they had contracts with also increased costs on the necessary materials. Okay. Realities of running a business is to be able to adapt to changing circumstances. The most important thing here is to finish the project on time. One thing is for certain. Our administration must avoid working with Taurus in the future and offer safe choices like Underhaul. Dude is such an Underhaul dick rider. Jesus. Mistakes happen in any project. True, but we took an extra risk on this one. If something is too good to be true, it isn't. I had a bad feeling about the cheaper contract. The question is, are we going to give Taurus the funds they requested? What is your decision, Mr. President? Okay. Shit, this is hard. On the one hand, I do want to continue supporting Taurus on account of, one, they're a brand new company, and frankly, this is still cheaper than going with Underhaul Construction, by the way, giving them an extra 1 budget. But on the other hand, we don't have the money. We have a lot of debt. We're under a lot of financial strain, but on the other hand, I do want to continue to support Taurus, because on one hand, they're very well represented by the union, and that's a big deal for us. What did they say? Unforeseen expenses from the new workers' rights bill. Honestly, I'm generally of the opinion of you spend money to make money. That's just how it works. And I think, I hope that the economic value from completing the construction early, as they're promising, with the additional funds, will be good enough to improve the economy long term and get the public support that we need to keep everything nice and stable. And again, funding the union is, generally speaking, a very good thing. But we are in severe debt, and we really don't have the funds to spare. This playthrough might end badly. Okay, I'm taking a risk here. I'm gonna give them the additional funds for the reasons I stated. I'm very nervous, though. Give them the additional funds. As you wish. I will allocate the fundings to Taurus Holding. Let's hope this will be enough to have a timely opening. Regardless, the decision is made. Well then, thank you for coming. That is all in this matter. Let's enjoy the hospitality of the mayor. That I'm intending to. I will certainly join you. We left the meeting room. Boy, this is fucked. Discussions of changes to the tax system. We were at the top floor of the business council building, which had a great view of the beautiful Lac Haven. I looked outside from a tall glass window. The Marquian Sea stretched as far as the eye could see, and it was dotted with many ships towards the horizon. They were mostly cargo ships carrying precious goods in and out of Sordland. Tracing back the paths of the ships, I looked down at the harbor. Lac Haven was home to one of the largest harbors in the entire continent. Many dockyard workers were loading or unloading the containers. Work never stopped here. The door opened. Simon, Mikhail, and Edith entered the meeting room. Mr. President? Mr. President, so nice to see you again. Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's great to see you all again. Simon put down his bag on the table and started collecting his documents while the others slowly took their seats. Mr. President, before we start, I would like to mention some rumors that I heard. Workers' Right Act did not sit well with many business holders, especially the first section about the minimum wage. I heard the same. This has caused these businesses to lose millions of rent just overnight. Unfortunate, really, especially during a recession. What's unfortunate is that this bill was enacted this late. Neither of them responded. Good. Simon waited patiently. Once everything was ready, he adjusted his glasses. First of all, I would like to thank everyone here for their work on our tax system reform. We all know how complicated our current system is, and this work wouldn't be possible without all of you. He turned to me. The ultimate goal here is to end the recession. Before we move ahead and start formulating a plan, we need you to determine our direction, Mr. President. We have a few possibilities as a result of the work we have done so far. We can increase, maintain, or decrease the taxes for large corporations. I believe some of us in this room have a few strong opinions about this. In parallel, we can increase, maintain, or decrease the taxes for small and medium businesses. Let's start with large corporations, and we'll move on to small businesses. What is the outcome if we increase the taxes for large corporations? Because frankly, we need the fucking money. Simply put, if we increase the taxes, we will have more government budget to spend, which may come in handy. On the other hand, it's not directly helping us revitalize the economy. Our government is already in debt. This might be a way to get out of that debt. I do believe there is one way to get out of this recession, is through the trade and economic contribution of large corporations. Increasing their taxes will turn them on you. I will go a step further. Increasing their taxes will have disastrous results, and it will make you an enemy of them. Trust me, Mr. President, no one wants to make an enemy of them. Goes both ways, Mr. Avon. Of course. And what if we decrease the taxes for large corporations? It's not an option at this point. Our state is broke. We are barely functioning with the help of the taxes. We could balance it by increasing... Oh, wait, no. Never mind. I see. Is there any downside to keeping things the way they are? I'm of the opinion that if we don't make any changes, nothing will change. To stop the recession, we need to do something. I think so too. Agreed. What does everyone think we should do? I don't think we can do anything at this point. Although I would have preferred a decrease in taxes, it doesn't seem to be the best option. Our international trade is driven mostly by the products of these corporations. They are the backbone of our economy. Unfortunately, she might be right about that. Exactly. An increase should be out of the question. These companies are the backbone of our economy and our way out of the recession. I'm ready to make a decision. Very well, Mr. President. We want to ensure the economy is on a balanced track, as further destabilization might have drastic consequences. Okay, well, we're not decreasing the taxes on them. Simply put, we need the fucking money, and we're definitely not going to cut their taxes and increase them on the small and medium businesses. They're the ones who need the funding the most. So we either maintain it. Actually, no, forget maintaining it. We've done other things to revitalize the economy. I think those investments will pay out long term, and we don't need the corporations to stabilize things. My opinion. But it's between these two options. Increase the taxes for large corporations, that's plus 2 government budget, that'll go very much in handy. Or we increase the taxes for large corporations and balance it with a decrease for small businesses. That could be very helpful, because this will help the people a lot. This will be significant for the average small business owner within Sordland, because they'll have more money to spend on hiring new people, and they'll be able to offset the crisis caused by increasing the taxes on the larger corporations. But also, simply put, like I said before, we desperately need the money. We're running a major deficit here. Okay. While I'm very, very concerned about the government budget, I'm also, generally speaking, relatively hopeful that we can get the money back. One, through our investments and current holdings in Gassam, and second, through generally just revitalizing the economy and, you know, hopefully trade deals in the future. Oh, actually, trade deals might cost more. You know what? Fuck, I really don't know. We don't have money. We really, really don't have money. It really is between these two. Increase the taxes on large corporations and just recoup the money. Or balance it out by increasing their taxes and cutting them for small businesses. Because I honestly don't know what else. We have a lot of shit coming up that we'll need the money for. But we're in a lot of debt here. Increase the taxes for large corporations. You're making a mistake. This is going to have outrageous effects down the road. Enough. The president has made his choice. Thank you, Simon. Well then, I have taken note of our action. I'll put this into implementation as soon as possible. Simon opened his briefcase and swapped out the stack of papers he had in front with another stack. Let's move on to small and medium businesses. Is there any downside to keeping things as they are? Sordland needs change to get out of the recession, but the current state of the economy is in shambles. There's not much we can do about taxes. What's the outcome if we increase them? I think it'll be a very bad outcome, but I want to hear what's said. They're the backbone of the economy, and they are comprised mostly of regular people. If we start demanding more money from them in taxes, it might cause the public to harbor ill will towards the government. Yeah, that's true. On the other hand, we need to get out of debt one way or another. This can be a solution, for sure. I think increasing the tax for these small corporations is a good way to earn some extra capital so that the government can give it back to the people in due time. In the long run, increasing the taxes for small and medium businesses would make people happier with the services the government provides. Okay. People need their hard-earned money. What if we decrease the taxes for small and medium businesses? It should be helpful in curbing the recession for sure. Of course, that will come at the cost of losing some of our government budget. It is risky when we have no money left and we still have loans to pay. I'm ready to make a decision. Very well. Okay, we're not increasing the tax. We're in debt. We're in so much debt. It's really, really bad. No, I can't do this. I can't do the increased taxes. I can't. That's... You know what? This is how we increase employment. This is how we get out of this. We decrease the tax for small and medium businesses. This is a huge risk because, again, we're in significant debt. But, again, we've increased the taxes on the larger corporations, so we'll get a little bit of money back. And hopefully the investments we've made earlier, especially in the gas arm, will pay dividends in the future. So I do think we decrease the taxes. I think this will give us a popularity boost. This will give us a significant increase in employment, and it'll stabilize basically the solid foundation of the economy is in the small and medium businesses. They're the ones who are working here. They're the ones who need the help the most. I hope this doesn't put me in the can later on with the budget, but I think we do decrease the taxes for small and medium businesses. Very well. I've taken another note. We will look into how to go about implementing these changes. Well then, thank you everybody. That will be all for today. Thanks, Simon. They left the meeting room. I decided to stay a bit longer. I went by the window again and kept watching the sea in silence for some more time. This is bad. Large corporations downsize. I don't care. Tax avoidance. We do have the anti-corruption police, so that'll hopefully... Small business is growing. Recent tax pays led to a surge in small business growth, resulting in an increase in job opportunities throughout Sordland. This economic stimulus provided a much-needed boost in the country's struggling job market, and has helped to promote sustainable economic growth. Good. Okay, that helps. That helps a lot. Reducing their workforce, significant job losses. Let's see. What's everyone saying? Holstron, immigration a threat to Sordland. See these... I hate these fuckers. Tax cuts for small and medium corporations. Ordered in recession, the administration has announced new changes to taxes. As per the information provided by the Ministry of Economy, the new changes include a cut of 10%, bringing the total to 25% for small and medium corporations. Uncalled for, whatever. Torn Hill School wins award. Nice. Red Youth calls for peace. Okay. Alright, let's see. Sordland, a threat to world peace. Jesus Christ. Fucking joke. Gruny Rural Development Plan nears completion. Okay. I hope it's not too expensive. Gruny Rural Development Plan, the brainchild of Rural Development Minister Gus Manger, is nearing completion in Holsord. Okay, good. Alright, we're working up. Still plenty to do, but we're working up. Spend money to make money. That's how this goes. As part of the planned program, we arrived in Laren to visit a middle school. The prestigious Horn Hill High School was situated close to the suburbs just outside the city center. The building was flanked by two hills, each beautifully dotted with shrubs and flowers. Lucian, Kiara, and I got out of our cars, met at the entrance. Our presence had not gone unnoticed, apart from our guards. There were at least 10 reporters following us around. That must be the principal. Right this way, sir. The principal was a man of short stature with a bushy mustache and a pair of glasses. He approached us quickly, but was stopped by the security guards. They started patting him down and searching him. That won't be necessary. Let him through. Mr. President, such an honor to meet with you. Shake his hand, smile for the cameras. We shook hands and I turned around to smile for the cameras. Reporters instantly snapped a few photos. Welcome to our humble school. It's good to be here. Excellent. You must be Mr. Galad. It's a pleasure to meet you. And Miss Walda, so good of you to come all the way out here. Thank you. At the entrance, the school's motto was inscribed in the wall in giant letters. Instresten sis agnikar avgerania. Int alla almer gvoten and Alla Mexis. Wow, I butchered that. Education is the premise of progress in all societies and all families. We walked through the gates. There were many students lined up in front of the stairs on the main building. As we entered, the students started singing the national anthem. The principal proudly looked at them. Marvelous, my dear students. After the anthem finished, all the students immediately snapped to attention and turned to me. Looks more like a military institution than a school. Exactly, that's what we pride ourselves on. Discipline as the utmost importance in our school. We need more educated people, not soldiers. On that, we are aligned. I can assure you that our students are very well educated. In fact, our school is one of the top 10 middle schools in all of Sordland. Now we will watch the students take their daily student oath. A boy and girl went up on stage, grabbed their microphones, the students turned to them. I am a sword, my strength lies in my blood. I will respect our honorable elders. I will protect the young. My life belongs to Sordland, now and it will belong to it forever. I will always follow the guiding light of Colonel Sol and the great swords. Morgna Wes Core, Vector insista. Do nothing. Words to remember. What? No one even remembers it after they graduate. If you wish to follow me, we'll take a look at one of our classrooms. Through the hallways, we made our way to classroom 7A. As soon as I entered, the whole classroom rose up and snapped to attention. Sit down, please. The students sat down. The same boy and girl walked up to us. These are our top students and our top class. This here is my son. The boy came before me and saluted me like a military officer. Tell Mr. President what you want to be. Mr. President, I want to be a general, sir. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for my country and you, sir. This is nonsense. What are you teaching these students? The principal looked extremely surprised. Was it not to your liking? I'm so sorry, Mr. President. The cameras flashed. This is simply ridiculous. You're raising soldiers here, not students. I am so sorry. I will immediately perform disciplinary actions. How about you, young lady? What do you think about this? She is our top student in this school. Her excellent grades are I didn't ask you. She bent down and gently addressed the young student. What do you think about your school? Just between us girls. I'm sick of having to knit and sew while the boys learn science and chemistry. I'm smarter than all of them. Why do I have to take these stupid handcraft classes? Shh! Do you know who you are talking? I shut up and let her speak. Kara's presence had emboldened the girl. She went on. My math and reading scores are the best in the school, but they won't let me take classes I want just because I'm a girl. I want to be a scientist, not some soldier's wife. You heard her, Mr. Principal. You'll make the necessary changes. At once. As you wish, sir. At once. I'll personally check back to ensure these changes are made. Yes, sir. Cameras flashed once again. I looked around the classroom and saw a large portrait of Colonel Sol. Yeah, if we're gonna make the education reform. Take that down. But sir, that's a portrait of Colonel Sol. We can't just take it down. Don't make me repeat my words. The principal reluctantly took the portrait down. Even the reporters looked confused for a minute before taking many photos of the portrait being taken down. Kara was smiling when she realized I was looking at her. She nodded. Well then, unfortunately we are almost out of time. We have other meetings to attend to today. Thank you for the warm welcome. Mr. President, Lucian, please go ahead. I would like to speak with the girl alone. Thank you for the tour. Thank you for visiting our school, sir. Come on, class. 1, 2. All students in the classroom yelled, but the boy whom I met was the loudest. I'm Morgna Wes Core. I left the classroom. Another round of photos were departed. After another round of photos, we departed. My bad. Yeah, that's just a military installation. That's not a school. What the fuck was that? International Trade Zone. Interesting. Okay. Geralt unveils newest wine and sends message. Lovely. Okay. Oh boy. Prayer language? Oh god. Visit schools in Laren. Okay, this seems to be positive. New Star, balanced energy prices. Ooh, okay. So energy prices in Sordland have remained remarkably stable over the last quarter, a positive sign for our economy with a marginal increase of 0.8. The stability in energy prices demonstrates resilience of our domestic energy sector amidst global market uncertainties. Good. That's good. Member of Assembly arrested. Mikhail Mussoliner, an MP from the National Front Party, of course it was them, was arrested on Tuesday for supporting the Young Swords organization and aiding terrorism. At least 2 other NFP members were also detained. Lawyers said in a major escalation of the government's crackdown on its opponents in the wake of the murder of Bernard Circus, raids also took place in the city of Jen and Erlery. Backdrop of rising criticisms of the government's purge, which also saw the issuing of arrest warrants against 2 editors of Black Avon Times, who were known to be supporters of the Young Swords organization. Interesting. Now there's still 40, so I guess I replaced them with other members. President Rain, the USP, and the Colonel. Yeah, no one's been reporting on that, which is good. Okay. We were still in Laren, staying at a modest guest house for state employees. Kara set up a meeting with me and Lucian to go over plans for education reform after our school visit. Lucian was seated across from me at the table, going through documents. Kara entered the room. After the visit yesterday, I couldn't even sleep thinking about that little boy and girl. I have never been more sure of my intentions to reform the education system. Lucian took off his reading glasses and put them on the table. I agree. An education reform is necessary. Exactly. Those students have to repeat the same soulless propaganda every single day. They're being brainwashed at an age when their minds need to be free. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunity as boys. They're forced into the roles of housewife before they even reach puberty. Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, Lilith, Nia, even your wife, we had to study twice as hard to receive the same university education that you and Lucian took for granted. Is that the kind of country you want your daughter to grow up in? Mr. President, we need to bring change. We need to free the minds of these young people. They are our future. Very well. What do we need to do for an education reform? We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Sol should only be viewed as a historical figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. This is actively poisoning young, bright minds. Instead of thinking for themselves, they're learning to take things at face value. We also need to ensure that boys and girls receive the same instruction. Handcrafts like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes or not at all. Sordland's youth must be technically skilled and capable for the next decade. That won't be possible with the amount of nationalistic indoctrination and narrow-minded thinking found in schools today. Either we raise a generation ready for the challenges of the future, or not. What will it be, Mr. President? Lucian, what do you think? I'm asking Lucian not because I'm going through with the reforms, but I want to see what Lucian thinks. As much as I respect Colonel Sol, his time has passed. Now is our time. I do think this might be the first step of a larger plan. Excellent. Reform the education system. You will not regret it. I will get to work immediately. Now that decision was made, let's move on. Very well. Kara skimmed over documents before continuing. After the budget increase, the ministry quickly began formulating plans on how to effectively use the money. Before moving forward, the questions of keeping education fully state-funded or allowing for new private schools remains open. Education should remain as a state service only. Certainly, this is the most ideal situation. I agree. The government should be responsible for managing education completely. State education is contrary to our overall economic strategy of promoting a market economy. A few minutes of deliberation passed. We have enough money to improve education in Sordland. We do not need to complicate things further with a privatization incentive. So, what is your decision? Yeah, again, as much as I need the money, keep education solely a matter of the state. We need to prevent interference from private interests. Yeah, we are the government. It is our responsibility to educate the students as best as we possibly can. We consistently see countries where education is not private education quality is significantly better. Finland is a shining example of this. They banned their private education sector and made it exclusively the jurisdiction of the government, and their education is said to be some of the best in the world. So, keep education solely a matter of the state. Will do. That should be it for now. I will get to work and report back later. This has been a very productive day. I will be returning to Holzord. Thank you for your time, everybody. We dispersed after spending nearly the entire day together. I took a moment simply to breathe the fresh evening air of Laren. I felt calmer here somehow, but I would have to return to the chaos of Holzord soon enough. Oh shit, I'm gonna need to spend more money. Minister of Education started work on reform. Good. United Contana launched his second satellite. Okay. Noted. Greater Holzord free of protests. Good. Good. Okay. Demonstrators arrested. Tens of thousands of demonstrators were arrested. Okay. Rain is making a mistake. And what do we have here? What's this? Education reform going on. Modernize education techniques. Good. Okay. Grunier regional development. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. The Grunier Rural Development Investment was a proposal by Rural Development Minister Gus Manger to bolster Sordland's rural economies and secure our nation's food sustainability. The plan envisages a judicious allocation of resources to vitalize agricultural communities, fortify food security, and elevate regional economy of Grunier. One potential strategy is the provision of subsidies for new farms, encouraging more players into the agricultural field. Alternatively, Manger promotes an investment in the mechanization of existing farms to improve productivity, or the initiation of crop research to foster innovation. So, all of these are fantastic options. All of these will do very, very well. But I'm thinking mechanize the existing farms. As much as initiating new crop research would be very, very good. And would bode well with the increase in education spending. The problem, well, not the problem with it, but it will take a long time. And frankly, the research might not bear fruit in time for us to put it to good use and during our administration. We need to secure food prosperity. We need to secure food sustainability now, as soon as we possibly can. Subsidies for new farms would also be excellent. It would improve everything substantially. But two things. One, it might encourage less qualified members into the field, so we don't actually know how that will work. Or two, it might consolidate the amount of money going. It might consolidate around a few big farming companies. However, mechanizing the existing farms does several things in our favor. One, we're already going for a mechanization program. We are increasing our electronics funding substantially. We're also increasing our energy funding substantially. Second, by improving the productivity of the farms that are already there, we'll see immediate results, and we'll be focusing on the people who already have shown that they are both knowledgeable and are ready to continue doing the farming work that is already going on. So for that reason, I'm going to mechanize the existing farms. Again, we're dealing with the government budget problem, but I think this is the best decision. I'm going to be so bitten in the ass by this. I already feel it. Mechanize the existing farms. Mechanization, the key to agrarian progress. In a bold move, the government has opted to invest in the mechanization of existing farms as part of a Grunier Rural Development Investment Plan. Wow, it's a mouthful. This initiative aims to boost productivity and could help secure our food supplies. While the transition may be challenging for traditional farming communities, it's a step towards modernizing our agricultural processes. Good. Oh boy, here we go. All right. Time to meet with Gloria Tori. I arrived at the Grand National Assembly, which was only a 5-minute drive away from the palace. Today, I had a private meeting with Gloria Tori, one of the leading figures of the USP, to get her approval for the proposal. She was also key in reaching 150 signatures to propose the new constitution, as she has extensive control over our party's conservative and moderate wings. As I walked through the corridors of the Grand National Assembly, I was confronted by my memories of the historic building. Despite being a member of the Assembly not long ago, it now felt like the distant past. As I walked into the left wing of the Assembly, which currently acts as the headquarters of the USP, Gloria's office was the first one inside. I knocked on the door and entered. Good morning, Mrs. Tori. Good to see you here, Mr. Rain. It was a small, neatly organized office. There were small figurines, photos, and plants around the place. It had a homey feel, unlike my own assembly office when I had worked there. On her gesture, I took a seat. The chair was very uncomfortable. How are you doing, Mrs. Tori? I'm fine, Mr. Rain. How are you? I'm very happy to see you, Mrs. Tori. It's been a while. Indeed, Mr. President. She smiled. So, how does the presidential chair compare to the ones in the assembly? The chair is fine, but the work that comes with it is insane. Well, you knew about that, didn't you? Anyway, let's keep this simple, Mr. Rain. We both know why we are here. You want me to give you my support. I don't see why the backbone of the USP would support your rushed reforms. Don't you realize they go directly against the wishes of the founder of this party and the state? The reforms are not against anyone. It's all in the name of democracy. In the name of democracy? Even though you owe everything to Colonel Sol, I think you never liked him, nor the party he built. There is nothing personal about this, Mrs. Tory. Whatever you intend to do, you will be facing quite the opposition. That's all I can say. You must understand that these reforms are a necessity. Let me explain. How? This seems like stronger messaging. The USP is a party that knows how to react in changing times, who must lead the nation into the future. That's for the party to decide, not you. I seriously do not know if the Conservatives would be willing to support you at all, especially when you're trying to decrease the electoral threshold. You must know this will mean bringing the communists into the assembly. You probably have a deal with either them, or maybe the PFJP. Friends seem to be positive about giving you support too. The decrease is important to democratize our elections. I don't know how your acts can even be justified inside the USP. I do not support an electoral threshold of 8%. This sets a dangerous situation for us, as both the WPB and the CPS will gain more power. I'd rather leave the threshold as it is. Will that ensure your support? I don't know what to say before seeing the commitment from you, Mr. Rain. Okay, both on Lucian's advice that if she makes demands, I have to take them, and what I said earlier about wanting to play the electoral threshold change off against the Member of Honor change, I think I'll give her this. Okay, I'll remove the change to the threshold. That's a step in the right direction. But your changes to the Member of Honor laws are a major obstacle. We obviously can't condone any threats against Colonel Tarkin's soul. You want to punish him for the aggressive policies he pursued in the past? Is that the intention here? You can't win this fight, Mr. President. Sol built this republic in the midst of blood and chaos. He demands respect. I have no intention of putting Sol on trial. Then why are you taking away his title? Why strike against an old man who's fought all his life for our country? The Member of Honor laws are unnecessary and undemocratic. This is not about Sol. Sol's the only Member of Honor. This is automatically about him. Look, I promise that we won't touch him, but these ancient laws should be removed. Fine. Let's talk about your other points. Okay. Good. I must say that I like the changes regarding the appointment of ministers. That's one positive aspect. But moving on. She took a look at the proposal. You know what? I believe I can give you the help you require. She repositioned herself on the chair. Just don't forget, Mr. President. The Conservatives will be expecting a lot from you. Whatever you need, Mrs. Tory. Good. I can get you the signatures needed for the proposal. I'll talk to the other Conservatives. I hope there won't be any surprises, though, Mr. President. Glad to hear that, Mrs. Tory. I just hope you won't continue Alfonso's destruction of the country with your economic policies. Of course, I can't guarantee that all the Conservatives in the party will vote for your constitutional changes. I have serious reservations about privatizing healthcare or the sort of state corporation. The support of my faction can change. That will depend just on some extent to your policies. But the signatures, at least, are as good as gathered. Do I? I don't know. She mentioned the sort of state corporation. I'm not privatizing healthcare, but I might privatize the sort of state corporation, but that's down the road. Do I push or do I just thank her? I think I just thank her. Yeah, keep her friendly. Thank you. She smiled and nodded. Before we finish, there was one thing I need to say. I'm concerned about the oligarchs and the state of our economy. I'm worried that they may influence you for their own benefit. We expect you to succeed where Alfonso failed in resisting their siren call. If you start privatizing healthcare or state-owned corporations, I doubt I can help you. I can't promise anything. These decisions are based on circumstances. For the sake of your reforms, you'd better hope that it doesn't. I believe I've made myself care. Thank you for stopping by, Mr. President. I hope you'll hold your promises. She extended her hand to me for a handshake. Once I shook her hand, she immediately sat back down. But now I need to get back to my duties. If you'll excuse me, Mr. President. Goodbye, Mrs. Tory. Thank you. She only responded with a nod as I left her office. Conservative side was handled. But to get to 150 signatures I needed, I would still have to deal with Alpin Clavin and the reformist wing. I went outside. Sarah drove me back to the palace, where I met with Lucian and told him about the progress I'd made with Gloria. Okay. I didn't want to change the electoral threshold back to 10. But I did get the Member of Honor thing, and that's what I wanted. And also, this will decrease the amount of resistance I get from everybody, actually. The NFP won't be as, emboldened by this, because they don't care about Seoul, but everybody cares about this. So I hope that long term this will get me the support I need. BFF warns Velhen, Sordland, and Lesbia. Okay. Ooh, the chess match. Late in the evening, Lucian extends an invitation for a strategic game of chess within the solemn quiet of the presidential office. Okay, Okay, this is the one guide I'm going to look up. I have never won a single match against Lucian, and I want to know how to win. Just this one time. Just this one thing. Suzerain Lucian chess. This is the one thing I've never been able to figure out. Control the center. Okay. Okay. That makes enough sense to me. Again, this is the one thing I want to, because I've never been able to figure it out. Evening descended on the capital as Lucian and I found ourselves alone in my office. I followed my chief strategist's eyes to the chessboard on the coffee table. The sight of it reminded me of simpler times, of late-night strategy sessions turning into chess matches we used to escape the political chaos into a world of rooks and bishops. Our battles were both tense and friendly, a reflection of our long history together. Lucian has always proved a challenging opponent. His strategies, both on the chessboard and in politics, had the same unpredictable edge. A soft knock to interrupt my reminiscing. Livia came in with our usual coffee. She nosed the chessboard and smiled. Long nights of strategy planning, and now a game of chess. You two never stop thinking, do you? What's your opinion on chess, Livia? Ever been tempted to learn? I prefer whist, Mr. President. I'll leave the complex plotting to the professionals. Have a good day, gentlemen. She turned and left the room. Lucian acknowledged her exit with a slight nod, his eyes still fixed on the board. I hope you remember that it's not always the king who holds the power. Sometimes a well-placed pawn can change the game. The power dynamics of a chessboard can teach us a lot about politics. Wouldn't you agree, Lucian? Absolutely, and playing chess with politicians will tell you more about their goals and plans than any speech. As Lucian positioned the pieces on the chessboard, it stirred memories of our early days in the United Sordland Party. His dexterous maneuvering reflected the unseen orchestration that helped Peter and me ascend through the ranks. As the final piece was set into position, the board transformed into a silent battlefield. Shall we get this game underway, Lucian? Indeed, President Rain. A game of chess is exactly what we need. Which color do you prefer? Black as usual, or white this time? Black for me. I like the advantage of reacting. Strategist choice, I'm not surprised. The board is yours to react to. With the sides chosen, Lucian sat back, his fingers laced together in contemplation. And thus the game began. Lucian moved his knight from g1 to f3, aiming for a Reti opening. Interesting start, Lucian. Control the center. In response to Lucian's attempt at the Reti opening, I advanced my pawn from e7 to e5, aiming to strengthen my grip on the center. A solid move, Mr. Rain. Maintaining control of the center is often key. A few minutes passed and a few more actions were made on the board. Lucian's next move was calculated and swift. A bishop glided from f1 to g2, preparing for a potential kingside castle and fortifying the pawn structure. Your bishop is on the move, I see. Every piece has its role to play, Mr. President. Press the center. Seeing Lucian's strategy unfold, I decided to assert control over the center, moving my pawn from e5 to e3. I prepared to challenge his dominance on the board. With this, the stage was set. The opening maneuvers had transformed the game into a mid-game battle of wits. With each pawn push, every subtle repositioning had been showing to Lucian's strategic prowess and my resilience. The next move would prove crucial. Lucian's queen cut a path through the heart of the board, menacing my vulnerable kingside. The stakes were sky high. A bold pawn advance could release my rook's potential and threaten Lucian's knight. On the other hand, I could gamble with the Romish Gambit, a risky play that could wrestle the control of the center away from him. Unleash the rook. With a bold stride, I advanced my pawn, ripping open the f-file. The next move took a knight from Lucian. The knight of yours. A daring sacrifice, Lucian. A sacrifice indeed, but one I'm willing to make. Me with the economy. Lucian moved his rook from the corner, adding pressure on my exposed bishop. Lucian made a bold move, pushing his pawn forward and forcing my bishop into a vulnerable position. While the urge to secure my threatened bishop was strong, an enticing opportunity also lay before me, a potential double attack on Lucian's king and rook. The Regent Fork. I maneuvered my knight expertly, landing it on a square that posed a double threat to Lucian's king and rook. A daring maneuver under fiery pressure. You're an adept tactician, but this is far from over. In response to my knight's threat, Lucian moved out the threat, creating a barrier between my knight and his king. Only through fire do we learn the nature of the material. I hope this is the correct answer. Exploit the back rank. I moved my rook to the last rank, threatening Lucian's king with a potential back rank checkmate. Clever, President Rain, but did you consider all the consequences? The center was congested, a show of Lucian's unyielding style. His formation was formidable, his pieces interlocked in a matrix of support, each protecting the other, while simultaneously projecting threats across the board. It was my move, and the game had entered its final stages. Lucian's queen was uncomfortably close, radiating danger. I only had a few paths before me. Lucian's king stood vulnerable, but a risky move could leave my own king exposed. However, seizing the opportunity seemed worth the risk. Decoy the queen. I boldly moved my queen, placing it in a position that exposed Lucian's king to a potential checkmate. A daring choice, President. It seems the end is near. If Lucian overlooked the threat I posed, victory would be mine. If he identified the trap, the game could stretch on, but the advantage would be mine. Well played, but it's not over yet. Lucian, caught in my trap, tried to navigate his king out of the danger zone. Despite Lucian's attempt to wriggle out, his king was trapped. My queen delivered the final blow, spelling a checkmate. The game was over, and I had won. Thank you to the guide online, and what I vaguely remembered from it. I've never won the chess game before, so I'm excited to see what, this means. Checkmate, my friend. It was a well-fought battle. I see no way out. Well done, Mr. President. You've earned this victory. I haven't earned this one, but thank you. We learn more from our mistakes. Lucian and I slowly began to dismantle the chessboard, each piece carefully placed back into its protective casing. Lucian's eyes bore a far-off look. Perhaps he was replaying the match within his mind. He picked up a knight and turned it over in his hand thoughtfully. A difficult game, chess. The constant threats and counter-threats take me back to some similarly challenging times. Was there a particular challenge that still resonates? We have all had our pasts, Mr. President. Mine happened to involve many moves and counter moves, each with its own consequences. Were these consequences a part of the Old Kingdom's final years, Lucian? Yes, Mr. President. Those were trying times for Sordland, and like many others, I was caught in the crossfire of those tumultuous years. A shadow seemed to pass over Lucian's eyes, a hint of the turmoil that still lingered in his memory. What sorts of conflicts are we talking about? It is not my intent to withhold information from you, but I believe we should focus on the future of Sordland and leave its history where it belongs. On that note, it's time for me to depart. I thoroughly enjoyed our match tonight, Mr. President. Indeed, as did I. The game is as enlightening as it was entertaining. Win or lose, there's always something to be learned from a round of chess. Good night, Mr. President. As Lucian exited the room, the memories of our game lingered, as did the enigmatic aura of the man himself. Alright, time to talk to Clavin. After our meeting with Gloria Tori, the further discussions with the party and my cabinet, it was time to talk to Albin Clavin, to get the reformist wing to support the proposal. I also plan to finally present a more fleshed out proposal and declare our agenda to the party after our meeting. Okay. I walked into the left wing of the assembly and entered the quarters of the USP. When I reached the meeting hall, I saw many of our members conversing inside. After taking a glimpse inside, I went back to the corridor to look for the office of Albin Clavin, which was around the back of the place. When I reached his room, I knocked on his door and entered. Mr. President, welcome! The whole room was surrounded by bookshelves packed with files and papers. It was a small office, with books and dossiers lying on every corner. It felt claustrophobic. On his gesture, I took a seat. How is everything going, Mr. Clavin? It's been busy. The party's been working very hard, Mr. President. Thank you for asking. How is it going for you in the palace? It's pretty tough. I can't imagine the work you're dealing with up there. I wanted to express my gratitude for passing the Workers' Rights Act. It is one of my most comprehensive and successful political efforts. You and I see eye to eye on many subjects, including this one. Music to my ears. It wouldn't be possible without Pascal Benawal's support. The labor union and several NGOs like Magnus Cardus also contributed to the campaigning. New Charter of Rights supports humanistic ideals and... okay. Good to know. Albin smiled and knocked on wood. Anyway, sir, let's talk about the proposal. Thanks for coming here for my input, because there are some subjects where Gloria and I don't see eye to eye. I have to say that most of the progressives were already starting to warm up to you. Your attempt at changing the Constitution created quite a bit of excitement. One could dare to say an excitement that hasn't been felt since the 30s. I've read the proposal and that was finalized together with Mrs. Tory, and surprisingly, it came out pretty good. Look, Mr. President, I'm on the same side as you. I won't create any problems. Thank you, Mr. Clavin. Any help from you is much appreciated. He looked down at the proposal. It's looking good. I'll support the proposal and get the needed signatures from our wing. I believe the reformist votes that I have will be very important to you. Who knows? Maybe you'll consider me for a job in the government in the future for this. I'll consider you if you prove yourself useful in the vote. Oh, you know I will, Mr. President. I will talk to my guys shortly. I'll have their signatures soon. Thank you, Mr. Clavin. See you in the conference, Mr. President. I left his room and went back to the corridor. Great, no problems from him. Fantastic. Good to see. The meeting had exhausted me. I went to the restaurant of the assembly to get something to eat while conversing with other members of our party. I saw Albin talking to his people in the distance. After a while, the preparations for the conference began, and I went back into the conference hall and prepared my notes for the speech I was going to make. I took time to get all the present members of the party inside the hall. Gloria Tori announced me from the stand. I walked up to the stand as everyone in the room started clapping. Brothers and sisters of United Sordland, I came here today to announce the agenda for the future of our country. I started my speech with the reasons of the changes to the Constitution. Our system and institutions have increasingly become undemocratic. Over the decades, after Seoul tightened his grip on the country, I didn't want to mention Seoul. Since then, we have a Supreme Court that obstructs the duties of the President and the Assembly. We must finally be brave enough to go against the status quo that they created and write a new constitution. I paused when some people started clapping, but it was short-lived. After taking a breath, I continued. Talk about why USP needs to survive the next elections. I brought attention to the people's protests and the slight decrease in the popularity of USP. I explained how our proposal will only be beneficial for everyone. The moderates that sat in the center started applauding. Really? Just the moderates? Okay. Later, I explained the contents of the new constitution and asked for their full support for the proposal. Asked for their votes. I asked for each and every member's vote to make a change together. The reformist wing on the left stood up and started clapping loudly after Albin Clavin made a sign. Soon after, most of the party members stood up and joined in. I saluted everyone in the room one last time and bid them farewell before leaving the stand. I walked outside the assembly and back to the palace. Okay. Okay. Good. That went really, really well. Let's see here. President meets the USP. What time is it? Sorry, I'm just thinking if I should end this on turn 4 and leave it here and come back tomorrow. I think I could come back tomorrow, no problem. You know what? That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to leave this episode here, and I'm going to try to make it back for another stream tomorrow and jump straight back into this because I'm having a fantastic time. This has been a really, really good run. There's a lot of problems that we have, but I'm sure that we can overcome. But for now, I'm going to leave this episode here. Thank you all so much for watching this stream, and I'm really, really excited to be back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your night. If you enjoyed this stream, please do like and please do subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and it's really, really heartening to see how much this channel's been growing with only a few short months. I'm deeply appreciative of it. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.